Yesterday, it was announced by my former alma mater, my once proud alma mater, the Department of Justice, under the tutelage, if not direction, to use the term loosely, of Attorney General William Barr, who generally does nothing, has taken a dive with regard to the indictment of James Comey, of Andrew McCabe, of the Lovebirds, of Bruce Orr, of the Obamas, of the Clintons, of nearly everybody, Clapper and Brennan, the intelligence czars that violated our Fourth Amendment rights, took a dive on every single thing. But what did he do yesterday? He actually did the right thing in moving to dismiss the indictment of General Mike Flynn, who was set up, who was entrapped. The case is in front of Judge Emmett Sullivan. It's not a done deal. Sullivan needs to sign off on that. Sullivan previously had, in effect, called Flynn a traitor, so it's not a done deal. But this is the Washington swamp. But there's a huge dichotomy here. There's a huge hypocrisy. There's a huge outrage. There's a huge selective prosecution. And while I'm happy for General Mike Flynn, I'm not happy with regard to my clients, Cliven Bundy and his sons, Ryan, Ammon, Mel, and Davey. They and peaceful protesters, as you know, stood down the government in 2014 when they invaded their ranch over alleged grazing fees that were owed, and they weren't even owed because the federal government doesn't in reality own that land to charge grazing fees. And in fact, they weren't grazing fees at all. They were management fees. And management fees were not needed. Cliven decided he would manage his own ranch and his own land. He could do it much better than the government, obviously. And he loves that land. 400,000 acres in and around Lake Mead. I've never seen anything more beautiful in my whole life. But he was prosecuted, and his sons were prosecuted. And in large part, he was prosecuted by the Obama Justice Department because Cliven had equated his plight to the Negro in the Old South. Obama took offense to that. You know, Martin Luther King used the word Negro. Cliven didn't know that, you know, the current politically correct way to refer to African Americans is African Americans. But there are other reasons as well, because the sinister and evil Senator Harry Reid wanted to take that land away from the Bundys and reportedly sell it to Chinese. Yes, Chinese, communist Chinese environmental interests. Everything goes around that comes around, or comes around that goes around, whatever you want to say. But during the trial that ultimately ensued, after Cliven and his sons were thrown in prison without bail, Cliven was even thrown in solitary confinement. They were denied a speedy trial. They were denied the right of counsel, me, by this Judge Gloria Navarro, who had been recommended for appointment by Senator Harry Reid, that corrupt mafia-connected Harry Reid from Las Vegas. And the trial ultimately ensued after about 2 years of them being in prison without bail. Now, it quickly came out that the government had hid exculpatory evidence that would have resulted in the immediate acquittal of the Bundys. They also had sharpshooters, and they had surveillance cameras that weren't revealed, showing that the Bundys were not, in fact, violent. They weren't even trying to harm anyone, yet they were indicted for attempting to harm federal agents. There was actually video footage of that could have been produced. And then we found out that there was a kill list on the heads of the Bundys, and they were being referred to as subhuman because of their faith. The government lied time in and time out on the witness stand under oath. They were caught lying. The prosecutors lied. Stephen Myre, Daniel Sheese, and someone by the name of Nadia Ahmed. All of this forced this Judge Navarro, who was a Harry Reid Obama loyalist, who did everything she could to violate the constitutional rights of the Bundys and the other defendants, the peaceful protesters that were indicted along with them. Even she was forced to dismiss the indictment. Now, let me make this long story short, and you can read more about it at ClivenBundyDefenseFund.com. Cliven, C-L-I-V-E-N, BundyDefenseFund.com, and also at freedomwatchusa.org and LarryKlayman.com. Barr dismisses this case against Flynn when evidence far less severe than what existed with regard to the Bundys came out during trial. And why did he do that? And I'm really happy for General Mike Flynn, and I'm happy for his family. But you see, Mike Flynn is a Washington insider. He's part of the Republican establishment. So in the end, Bill Barr, who hasn't done anything else, who has taken a dive on every other issue and every other possible prosecution of criminality, moves to dismiss the indictment of Flynn, but yet has allowed the U.S. attorney that committed these atrocities along with the government to appeal the dismissal of this indictment. And we have an oral argument on May 29th of this month. And if that's overturned by a very liberal Ninth Circuit, the Bundys will go back to trial and again face the possibility of life imprisonment if convicted. There were 17 counts. Cliven's in his mid-70s. So this tells you something about the Washington swamp. They'll protect their own, but in the end, they won't do anything for you and me, and certainly not the Bundys. In fact, they'll let a political prosecution and outrage go on and on and on. And this is the Attorney General. So don't listen to the accolades that you hear on Hannity and elsewhere. Gee, he's a courageous AG. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done squat. He's protecting the Washington Insider Club, which protects itself, Democrat and Republican. And go to ClivenBundyDefenseFund.org or ClivenBundyDefenseFund.com, either one, and contribute to his defense. It's just as expensive as it was for General Mike Flynn, and he's been persecuted. And this is something that we need to bring out because we have a system of justice that protects the elite, but you and I and the Bundys can go to hell. That's my message for today. God bless you. God save America. Of course, go to our website at freedomwatchusa.org and support our class action against the communist Chinese over COVID-19. Again, Barr hasn't done squat with that. He hasn't done anything. So don't be fooled by what you hear on Hannity and the other stations. And I'm thankful that he did at least something for Flynn, but don't expect him to bring any prosecutions even for what happened with regard to Flynn with the FBI. That's a scam. Fox promotes that to increase their viewership and advertising dollars. They do it every single night, particularly on Hannity. God bless you. God bless your family. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Go to ClivenBundyDefenseFund.com. See what I'm talking about. Stay safe. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Also, listen to my radio show this week. It comes on Sunday. It's also can be found on podcasts on freedomwatchusa.org, on Spotify, on iPhone, on iTunes, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Stay safe. I'll be back Monday with another special podcast, and thank you for listening to me.